بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم ألهمنا مراشد أمورنا وأعذنا من شرور أنفسنا. The chapter in Kitab al-Riqaq, after the chapter of the fadilat, the virtue of faqr, and what was the aish, the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So after that chapter, which he really showed that the main thing is poverty, and wealth is that you can't manage poverty. Then the opposite of that day is what is now called the chapter of Tulul Amal. Babu Tulil Amal. The chapter of having long hopes. Babu Tulul Amal. That's what Amal comes in Quran, where Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, ذَرُهُمْ يَأْكُلُوا وَيَتَمَتَّعُوا وَيُلْهِهِمُ الْأَمَلِ. That leave them, they can carry on eating, enjoying. What is making them ghafil? Al-Hakum. What is making them ghafil? Al-Amal. So what is this Amal, Tulul Amal? Amal means a hope. Now if a man has a hope for very high things, in dua they say, intend the highest, more than you can even imagine that you can get. There you must have very, very high hopes. So that Amal is not bad. The Amal is what we're speaking about, something that you hope to reach in this world. Now why was this Tulul Amal, having a very long hope? Had that long hope been for something that is long, it would have made sense. Because the normal law is that when you are reaching out for something, then you can only get the thing if that thing is beyond your hand. So where your hand reaches, and then the thing is here, and you grab it. Little bit more than that, then you are telling the person you're going to waste your time. Because this body of yours, no matter how much it stretches, whatever was within your reach, you're going to miss it. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to see it. And whatever's not within your reach, you're going to die for it. And that is Tulul Amal, which has taken away that word of shukr from many people in the world. See, when the hand stretches, as I told you, what's within reach, you grab it. What's before reach, you grab it with a lot of ease. Because from my body till where my hand reaches, there's a lot of things there. And if any person just looks down, he'll see so easy that Allah sent everything to me. But there is something called a sickness of Tulul Amal, that a man doesn't look down. He looks in front. In Arabic they say, Al-insanu harisun fima muni'a. That whatever he was told don't do, that's what he wants. But it never meant there isn't law things. It is just a sickness that whatever you don't have, you normally want. And that makes you oblivious to what you really got. You see that beggar on the road, you don't blame him when he comes to looking at you that I want that 5 rand. Because he got no 5 rand by him. So you won't say you're reaching out for very far, but there's so much by you. That's not called Tulul Amal. There isn't anything by him. But then there are many people who got lot by them. But as soon as they get a sickness that I want that, then suddenly they forget that lot. So example, you'll get a person and he's looking for happiness. Amongst the things Allah has given him, one of those things can make a whole world happy. But for some reason, he can't use all that. He needs something beyond that to make him happy. That's like an adab, that whatever you need is more closer to you than a stretch also. The only thing is you've been made blind. So you'll always carry on looking beyond. And the day you die, the angel will say, that thing was right by you. Isn't وَإِنَّ نَفْسًا لَن تَمُوتَ حَتَّى تَسْتَكْمِلَ رِزْقَهَا. No one will die. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that your rozi, your sustenance chases you like death. Meaning you can't get away from it. But sometimes what was meant for man, he becomes so blind that that very thing that would have given him a lot of comfort. See, one man could have slept tonight. The bed was in the bedroom. Suddenly he got a shock that night, I need to buy a new bed. So the whole night he sat on the internet looking for a bed. And he never slept. Had he been told, go in the room and sleep, there's nothing wrong with the bed, he would have slept. There are so many people in this world who you find today are working. And when you ask them, what are you working so much for? They say, to get rest. That one day I can retire. They'll say, rest you already got. Just stay at home. But they got a sickness, they can't stay at home. I've met certain people, I told them, by now you can retire. So much you got, so much. You don't need to wake up so early. You don't need to go outside with the fear someone will rob me, kill me. You can retire now. You can go sit in a madrasa, in a khanga. You can go in Jamaat. You can go for holiday also and just stay in an island. So much that man got, but there is something called tulul amal. Tulul amal, it means that he says, I just need a little more, then I'll stop. This is that word tulul amal. Then I'll stop. Man will never stop. As long as he says, I just need a little more. If that little more can go. So the beginning hadith of this chapter, which has always been the main hadith of the chapter of Tulul Amal, and what a place it came. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave this advice in the Qabristan. Because the grave was mentioned always in the ahadith, that if you want to break your Tulul Amal, the sickness of looking far, then just go to the grave. In that graveyard, each grave gives a message that I also thought I'm going to live one more day. Every man in that grave. Every man. When that matam took place in every house, why they cried? Everyone cried because no one thought he was going to die. He also never thought I can die. His family never thought he can die. Just go to the grave and look at each. You will see 25. You see 36. The man of 25 never thought he'll die on 25. He never thought he'll die at 35. He never thought he'll die at 45. You will meet the man at 80. He also thinks, I'll live till 100. The tulul amal never ends. Never ends. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu anhu, Kun fid dunya ka'annaka gharib, aw abiru sabil. If you want to live in this world, always think that I'm a stranger in this world. This is not mine. Comes, it goes. Abiru sabil, then think I'm a passerby in this world. The other day in a bayan I mentioned that see the phases of life. No matter how long it is, but each phase, the next phase, because of its length, made the value of this phase be lost. So think of this example. See, the child is in the womb of the mother. That 9 months that the child is in the womb is a very long 9 months. Very long. Ask that woman who falls pregnant. Immediately she gets happy that day. Now everyone starts saying, when it's going to happen? Hey, it's very long, sir. 9 months is very long. But the day the child comes in another world, which is 90 years, the value of that 9 months now just becomes like zero. That only 9 months it was. Quickly it happened. Why? 90 years you got. And as soon as you saw this world, the value of the womb changed. It fell. As soon as you saw a world with more space, suddenly what you thought was Lord space became cramped. And you wonder how the child managed in there. As soon as you saw the air of this world, the value of the air in the womb fell. When you saw the food of this world, the value of the food of the womb fell. But that child in the womb is told only one thing, your job is to get out alive, that's all. After 9 months, get out alive, that's all. It's so long, but once he found 90 years, everything's value fell. And he started despising the womb now. Even that womb was like, regarded as a thing of dirt. As soon as man will enter the world of the grave and visit Qabristans, when I went one grave, they told me, come and see, this is a very old grave, 1929. So 100 years ago he was buried. Just that 100 years makes you think, hey, this man is really there for 100 years already. But that's not like long. We know there should be people in their graves for 10,000 years also. This world is about a 10,000 story. Think of those people, 900 years they're waiting. In that 900 years, the value of a 90-year world falls to the ground. It really falls to the ground. In that world of the grave, whether you're enjoying life or you're getting punished, both of it makes the value of this world zero. If you are being straightened in that grave, pressed in that grave, then no matter how much of enjoyment and space you had in this world, it's not going to help you. And if you are getting ease in that grave, then you're not even going to think about, hey, in the world I also had ease. Just like how you ever met a man who said, hey, I'm enjoying life, and in the womb also it was nice. The womb is never spoken about. Why? The value of it just falls. Soon as man enters the grave, he'll forget this 90 years, and he will despise this 90 years. But that's not the end still. That 900 years in the grave, its value will also fall the day you stand in front of Allah on the day of Qiyamah. That for some people could be 1,000 years, it could be 10,000 years. During that stand, he'll forget the whole grave, everything of the grave. But it's still not finished. There will be phase after phase, they'll be crossing a sirat. For some people, it might take them another 10, 15, 20,000 years to get past. And even that will make. And then there is one word called eternity. That word we can't understand, and you can't do any maths with that word. Because maths you can only make when you know this number and you got another number, then you minus. With eternity you can't minus because you get no answer. So just put that word eternity in front of eternity, forever and ever. Everything loses. Everything. So even if there was no enjoyment in Jannah except time, even if there was nothing else except you are now forever, just that one would have made everything lose its value. Just that one. If you're just told, now stay alive, finished. While you're alive, you can move around, kick a ball, find one old ball with your friends, say, let's kick. But you're not going to die. Even that itself would have made everything lose its value. Even just that time. Now we go backwards. Tulul amal. Tulul amal means that you know this one is not going to last. That child is told, you coming out of that womb. So don't try to grab something in that womb which is beyond that 9 months. The reason is your job is to come out alive. If you try to grab something out of that womb, oh child, I think you might not come out alive. I understood that. The child is told, you make sure you stay there. As long as the doctor don't say come, you don't come. It's called a miscarriage. So he tried to grab something which wasn't his. Tulul amal. The child really thought, I can get one more thing in this womb. I've got so much already. Suddenly the woman started bleeding. She was rushed to hospital, said miscarriage. The child was told, stay for 9 months, you have to come out alive. When we came in this world, no one's going to tell us you have to come out alive. In this world is you have to die with iman. Inna Allah astafa lakumuddin. Ibrahim alayhi salam told his son, Nabi Yaqub alayhi salam told, Allah chose for you what a deen, fala tamutunna. That child was told, you have to come out alive. We told you have to die. You're going to die whether you like it. Fala tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. If you try to grab something in this world which is not in the framework of this world, you might lose your iman in it. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was at a qabristan. This is that first hadith in Tulul Amal. You what as the grave, and sometimes you must practice on the sunnah. You don't make it a big thing, obviously. But while people are busy putting the person down in the grave, a lot of people are around the grave, and you're standing there for a while, make amal on the sunnah. That you just sit yourself, you don't need a jamaat around you. Sometimes just sit. But you must be a little back, no one must look at you like, hey, such a lazy person. Sit for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. Just sit. And take your finger or take your pen or take a stick and just draw a square. In that day you will make like an amal which Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did at the qabristan. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam sat, Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu narrates, so perhaps they were sitting around him. And it was done in such a manner that when they narrate it also, it's like he says, it's stuck in our mind, this thing. That is why every muhaddis wanted to narrate the hadith, then they tried to make one small diagram in the kitab also. But the real place to make this diagram is in the sand, where? In the Qabristan. Go to that Qabristan and think, my Nabi sat at a Qabristan while waiting for the burial. And at that time he took out a stick. And he made a mark in the sand. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made a mark. He made a square. Khattan murabba'an. And then Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam then pulled a line. As he pulled the line, it reached the end of the square and then he pulled it out. And thereafter he said to Sahaba, then he drew some small lines this way, in the square. That lines were not even coming from out of the square, in the square. Some coming this way, some coming that way. And then Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam obviously will point to the line. And he will say, Hada insanun. This is man. Some say this is man means that line that is going. This is man is 2 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old. On every age is a new thrill. And every thrill makes you laugh, smile, or frown at the thrills of the past. Because you see, as that line is going, wherever that line has reached, I want you to think 5 days back, 5 years back, 10 years back. Can you really remember anything that happened in that time? Can you remember the time when your tooth was paining so much? You can't remember. So just like how we can't remember pain, we can't remember enjoyment also. I don't really remember that day I missed Fajr and I said, oh, what a sleep I got. We can't remember it. While I'm in the block, I can't remember yesterday. So you think the day I go out of this block, I'm going to remember it. That is why in eternity, man will frown about, why did he do something that spoiled eternity? Because you won't remember anything of this. Anything. As this line is going, it's just wiping out the past. But you can't remember, you can't hold on to, it's not there. So he drew that line. He said, this is man. Some say that line was man. Some say the whole picture was man. That this is the story of man. Whatever it is. Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam drew that line. And he said, and this line that is going out is the hopes man has. This is the hopes. He said, the lines that have surrounded him is his death. Even if he tries to escape from it in any corner, he's not going to go. He's stuck in this box. In this box. This box is called your life. And in your life, that's why he drew it, and the Sahabi explained it so well. He drew small lines which were in the box. The lines being in the box made an indication it's your taqdeer. Meaning it was written with you. This is man, you. Many a times in life when something goes wrong, we get very upset with somebody else. Ask a student when he gets caught. He blames the Nazim. We normally tell the Nazim, you're doing a job. He gets angry with the Nazim. That person did his job. The person who's wrong is the guy who's wrong. It's nobody else. That line being in the box means this is you. The problem is also you. It hasn't come from another box. The Sahabi explained it, otherwise there was no need to mention that word. Could have just said you drew small lines to it. He said you drew small lines min janibihi alladhi fil wasat. From that side of the box which was in, not from the outside coming in. Meaning outside coming in, you will say, he brought a problem in my life. He brought a problem in my life. People said to the Nabi of Allah, تَطَيَّرْنَا بِكُمْ, you're bringing so much of calamities. They said, طَائِرُكُمْ مَعَكُمْ. Problems are with you. If you are seeing things not right in your life, a man sometimes must stop blaming and he must go back to dua. And he must say, oh Allah, I know I really pushed it. But my whole life I pushed it. And all along you never slapped me. Now that you slapped me, it means I really pushed it. So I want to really ask you for maaf that I have overdone it. That box was a unique message that the small lines are your problems. It's your life. This is hada insanun. This is yours. All of us got problems. And how nice Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَإِنْ أَخْطَأَهُ هَذَا نَهَسَهُ هَذَا. Even if this one misses him, the other one's going to bite him. Even if this, then he said it second time, in أَخْطَأَهُ هَذَا, even if this one misses him, that one's going to bite him. Meaning in life you're going to get problems. You have to just let it. How a dog bites you. And as it's biting you, saying, but you carry on moving. You have to carry on moving. You can't stand there and let him carry on killing you. You just move with him biting you. Carry on moving. Get out of the problem. Some bees attacked one time. One time it happened here in our madrasa. Now if that person says, hey, I'm getting stuck, you say, run, get stung. You have to get out. But when problems come in our life, a lot of times we just get stuck. Tell the person, this was the time to really put up the hand in dua. This was the time he forgot to make dua. He got stuck. And then when he got stuck, he said, problem go, problem go. Problem is now not going to go. You have to get out of the problem. Sulaiman Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, as Rakim Sahib would say it so many times, that when that pretty girl came, which is a problem, then he never sat there and he said, what am I going to do now? He said he just ran. He just ran and Allah opened up everything. But where he ran, he said, فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. He ran to Allah and he found that was لَا مَلْجَى وَلَا مَلْجَى مِنْكَ إِلَّا إِلَيْكَ. That minka illa ilayk means, oh Allah, problems come from you. And to get out of the problem, I have to run to you. Nowhere else in the world you can get this. Someone shooting an arrow, and the only way to save yourself is to run closer to the person. It's only with Allah. La malja wa la manja minka illa ilayka. The only place that I can get protection from the problem is to the Zat who is in charge of everything. The problem is because of me, but Allah, it comes through your hukam. That box was to show problems are mine. This one missed him, the other one's biting him. How many people walked through problems? And as a gift to this ummah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took upon his body the most problems. He said, I have been trialed in the path of Allah like no other person has ever been put to a trial. I have been trialed in the path of Allah like no other person has ever been trialed. In that 23 years of nubuwah, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had upon his body inflicted such that he said in another Nabi's 1,000 years also he would not have experienced what I experienced in the 23 years. It's not an easy thing that, if you understand the power of that sentence, that another person could have been, we all know Nabi Nuh alayhi salam and what he went through in that 950 years. To take 950 years of problems and to squash it, and to put it on one individual in a 23-year period is not an easy thing. He said, I have been trialed in the path of Allah, tested, put under difficulty like no one. But how Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us, he just walked. He carried on walking. He just carried on walking. Qasida Burda, they describe Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam like this. They say, first he says like, كَالزَّحْرِ فِي طَرَفٍ. That in his being so delicate is like a petal. A petal, you just touch it, it breaks. So delicate. كَالزَّحْرِ فِي طَرَفٍ. But then he says, وَالْبَحْرِ fil himam. But in his himmat and his courage, he was like the ocean. Or wal dahru fil himam, like time. So they write under that, what does this mean, like time? Time is such that even if the whole world says, we're not letting it happen, time just carries on. It just carries on. That's what dahru fil himam. That when time makes an indication, an intention, you're going to die in 3 days' time. Every doctor in the world can come, time just carries on. It doesn't hear people criticizing, because who doesn't criticize time? Every day you'll hear someone saying, times are too bad. That's one. And then he'll criticize the past. He'll say, hey, why this happened? And they say, I don't know what's going to happen. All time he criticizes time. Time just carries on, but doesn't hear this man's criticism. It doesn't hear that man. It just got its job, carrying on. Just carrying on. That alim who can get this quality, Hazrat Maulana Rashid Ahmad Gangohi rahimullah. When Hazrat Haji Imdadullah rahimullah asked him, how are you? Like, you haven't written for so long. So he wrote, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala in your company has given me a few qualities. He said, one quality is whether people praise me now or they criticize me, it makes no difference to me. It makes no difference. It's a unique quality this year. Like, I just carry on my life. I got work to do. This side I don't turn, that side I don't turn. I'm just moving towards my direction. وَالدَّحْرِ Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but when he described him, how he said like a petal and so strong like time. That normally the two don't go together. If you are a petal, one person says something, you say, you know me, I got a soft heart, you broke my heart. Yeah, you are soft, but you are unbreakable. كالزهر في طرف والدهر في الهمم. Unique that is. So this is your box this year. And tulul amal is, I want that and I want that. Are you going to get it? You're not going to get it. What the hadith taught, if you can't get what's out of the box, why don't you start looking what's in the box? That was the crux of this narration. If you can't get what's out of the box, that's why depression comes. If you can't get what's outside the box, why don't you look what's inside the box? Sometimes I meet a person, he says, I still never got a job. I'm still looking for a job. So I ask him, like, what job? He says, no, I studied this year. Because I studied this year, now I'm looking for a job. I said, how long are you looking? He said, 2 years. So I told him, now how you look? He says, no, I put my CV. I sent it here. So I said, during the time what you're doing? He said, I'm waiting for an answer. So that waiting for an answer is you put your hand far. Whereas around you there's lots still. So there are many people who don't have a matric degree. They don't have a university degree. But the day they decided to go look for sustenance, they found it under their nose. They just went outside and they said, hey, I have to look after a family. That man never said, hey, you know what, I'd rather put a CV in front and say, who will ask me for garden job? The man who wanted to cut grass went knocking. Suddenly he got a job. So he is earning 70 rand, although he got no degree. And another man who's got a big degree, he's waiting for someone to call him. That call might come, but in life, don't wait. Instead of putting our hands outside the box, all we have to do is look inside the box. And inside the box, man will always find so much that can keep him happy. So much. But as long as the eye goes out, that eye goes out means I need one more valley. I need one more box. I need one more rand. That one more means outside. I haven't got it still. And a man who looks inside suddenly will say, I got so much. I got so much of this. I got so much of that. He won't say, I need so much. Whoever will say, I need, is still called a faqir. Whoever will say, I got, he's called a ghani. ليس الغنى عن كثرة العرض ولكن الغنى غنى النفس. The crux of this first hadith of Tulul Amal is, may Allah grant me and you tawfiq. We all got one box really. And how big that box is, we don't know until the day comes where we kicked outside the box. So we don't know how big it is. But so much we do know that in the box there is a lot of things besides me. Enjoy those lot of things. One person came to me, he said, there's no happiness in life. So I said to him, the reason is because you're looking for happiness outside your life. If you just look in your life, you'll find a lot of happiness. So I said, example, you're earning so well. I said, just go now to one widow's house and buy one packet of groceries and knock on the door or send someone and say, so and so person gave this. You will see such a smile, a tear on the people of that family, that you will say, this is happiness. I say, suddenly you will say that, you know what, happiness is in helping others. But because you're looking for your happiness outside your life, it's in me. You don't have to go out. So what it meant is that you thinking, I'll get happy if I get one more. Your happiness is if you give one more. The grab is not going to give much more now. Everything is already coming. That man who starts giving, he will see, he'll start smiling. The more that goes out, the more he'll enjoy. Everything is in the box. Tulul amal means that as long as the eye is outside, you will always think Allah gave you nothing. Always. And sometimes it makes a father so hurt that how much the father could manage, he went out of his way to make sure his son gets lot. But that father couldn't give the son everything the son wanted. But he went out of his way. The only thing the father wanted was the son to look at what the father gave him, not what his friend's father gave the friend. So every day the son comes back home and he says, Daddy, my friend's father bought the shoe. But the boy never ever looked at what shoe his father bought. So had he looked at his foot, he would have seen a shoe. Someone did pay for that shoe. But because he looked out, he even forgot he got a shoe. And if he looked down, he would have realized, hey, my father also did something. This is tulul amal. So long as we're looking out, what Allah has given us, which is lot, man will never make shukr. The day he looks down, he will see in his hand, and he will see in his finger, and he will see in his nail, and he will see on the hair on that body. And the more deeper he looks, the more amazed he will get that I haven't seen lot still. The more down I look, وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. I closed my eyes and I saw my Allah what He gave me. I opened my eyes and I saw my Allah what He gave me. I looked around me and I saw what my Allah gave me. And I made so much of shukr to Allah. And then I made so much of tawbah that this was not given to me today, it was given long ago. It was given long ago. It was just I never saw it. وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala grant us all understanding. It's all in the box. Don't pull our hand out of the box. وَآخِرُ دَعْوَانَ